The night has already arrived, long before we notice it. It did not rush in or announce itself. It simply settled, layer by layer, until the world grew quieter without asking permission. Inside a medieval room, the air holds still. Stone walls keep the warmth close, and the darkness feels familiar, not threatening, just present. A small fire glows low, no longer cracking, only breathing. Its light moves slowly across the room, touching wood, iron, cloth, then retreating again. Nothing here demands attention. The day has already loosened its grip. Outside, the town has gone quiet. No carts, no voices, no bells. Only distance remains, and the soft certainty that nothing else needs to happen now. The bed is simple, but sufficient. Wool blankets rest where they have rested every night before. They do not shift, they do not hurry. Time inside this room feels different. Minutes do not press forward. They stretch, then soften, then dissolve. The room remembers this stillness. It has held it many times before. Candles shorten themselves slowly, without concern for when they will disappear. Shadows lengthen, not because they must, but because the light allows them to. Breath becomes noticeable, then quieter. Thoughts begin to lose their edges. There is no need to understand the room, or its history, or the lives that passed through it. It is enough to be here. The night does not expect wakefulness. It does not ask for reflection. It only offers continuity. Stone remains stone, wood remains wood. The fire continues, as it always has, until it doesn't. And even then, the room stays. This is not a place of events. It is a place of pause. The world beyond these walls can wait. Inside, the night stretches comfortably, uninterrupted, unconcerned. Nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be anticipated. The room holds its shape, the darkness holds its depth, and the night continues exactly as it should. The room does not sleep, but it rests. It holds the night the way stone always does, patiently, without intention. The fire has lowered itself, no longer bright, no longer ambitious. Just enough glow to remind the room that warmth still exists. The ceiling disappears into shadow, not because it is gone, but because it does not need to be seen. Wooden beams stretch above, darkened by years of smoke, their lines softened by time. They have listened to many nights, all of them quiet in their own way. The walls are thick, built to keep things out and to keep stillness in. Cold does not enter quickly here. Sound does not travel far. The room is sealed from urgency. A small table waits beside the bed. Nothing rests upon it now. No tools, no letters, no unfinished tasks. Only space and the absence of demand. The floor is uneven, its stones worn smooth by footsteps that no longer arrive. Each stone remembers pressure, then release, then silence. The bed remains unmoved. Its frame is simple, crafted for function, not comfort. Yet the blankets have learned their purpose. They settle easily, folding into themselves, retaining warmth without effort. The air smells faintly of ash and wool, a combination that lingers long after movement has stopped. Breathing slows, without instruction. The room encourages it. Outside the walls, the night continues its own rhythm. Wind passes somewhere beyond reach. Leaves shift without being seen, but none of it intrudes. Inside, the quiet deepens. Shadows gather in corners, not abruptly, but gradually, as though they are arriving home. The fire responds to this stillness, its light pulsing gently, then pausing, then glowing again. No sparks rise, no sounds break through. The room accepts the pause without resistance. Time here is not measured, it is absorbed. Moments do not move forward, they settle, then remain. The past does not speak loudly, the future does not press inward. The present spreads out until it fills everything. The walls have held this condition before. They recognize it. They know how to remain when nothing else is required. The window, small and narrow, offers no view now. Darkness rests against it evenly, neither pushing nor retreating. Glass reflects the faint interior glow, doubling the quiet. The room feels complete. Nothing is missing. The fire lowers again, almost to embers, then steadies. It knows this pattern. The room does not observe it, it simply allows it. Stillness thickens gently, not heavy, not thin, just enough to soften edges. Thoughts become less structured, then less frequent. Awareness narrows until it is no longer necessary. The room holds its breath, then releases it slowly, over and over again. No conclusion forms. There is no signal to change. The night has already chosen this pace, and the room follows it, without hesitation, without need. Nothing else enters, nothing else leaves. The medieval room remains, quiet, contained, and undisturbed, as the night continues to unfold exactly as it has been. The night inside the room does not deepen suddenly. It settles, slowly, like dust that no longer moves. The fire has become quieter still, its presence now suggested more than seen. A faint orange breath rests low in the hearth, steady, unconcerned. The room adjusts itself around this change without effort. Shadows soften their edges. Light releases its hold. Nothing resists the transition. The walls remain where they are, cool and unmoving, their surface uneven beneath the dark. They do not reflect much, they absorb. Every sound that once existed here has already been taken in, held, then allowed to fade. The air feels heavier, but not oppressive. It carries the weight of rest, not the weight of silence forced. Breathing blends into the space. It becomes difficult to tell where the room ends and where awareness begins. The bed waits patiently, as it always does. Its shape is familiar, its presence expected. The blankets hold warmth without tightening, without pulling. They settle as the body settles, matching stillness with stillness. The wooden frame creaks once, then does not speak again. It has said enough. The floor remains cool, its stones unchanged. They do not need attention. They do not need acknowledgement. They simply exist beneath everything else, supporting weight without comment. Time passes gently here, not in minutes, not in hours, but in breaths that lengthen, then forget themselves. The window no longer reflects clearly. Darkness has erased distinctions, leaving only a muted surface where inside and outside blur. The room does not mind. It has always known how to exist without reference. The fire responds faintly, a small shift, a soft glow, then stillness again. No crackle follows. The sound has already gone to sleep. The room accepts this as a natural conclusion, though it is not an ending, just another stage of quiet. The ceiling remains unseen. Its height no longer matters. The space above feels infinite, not because it is large, but because it asks nothing. Thoughts loosen. They no longer connect from one to another. They arrive briefly, then drift away, without urgency. The room provides no hooks for them to cling to. Everything here is smooth, rounded by repetition. This night is not different from the many that came before. It does not need to be. The room has been here through countless evenings that ended the same way. Warmth recedes slightly, then stabilizes. The blankets respond, holding just enough. The air moves barely at all. Nothing stirs. The sense of position fades. Up and down lose meaning. There is only presence and the gentle continuation of it. The room does not observe this shift. It does not mark it. It simply remains. Outside, the night carries on in ways that do not reach here. Inside, the medieval room stays sealed in its own rhythm. The fire lowers again, then holds. Shadows rest fully now, complete, undisturbed. No conclusion arrives. No signal forms. The night does not require acknowledgement. The room does not require response. It continues to hold this quiet condition, patiently, steadily, as time moves past without needing to be noticed. The room has fully accepted the night. There is no adjustment left to make, no balance to find. Everything has settled where it belongs. The fire exists now mostly as memory. A faint warmth lingers near the hearth, more felt than seen. Its light no longer travels far. It stays close, contained. The walls hold the darkness evenly. No corner feels deeper than another. No surface pulls the eye. The room has become uniform, softly layered in shadow. Wood and stone lose their separate identities. They merge into presence, into mass, into quiet support. The air does not move. It rests between surfaces, between breaths, between moments. Nothing stirs it. The bed is no longer an object. It is a position, a place where stillness gathers. The blankets do not press. They do not loosen. They remain exactly as they are, responsive without action. The sense of weight fades gradually, not disappearing, but becoming irrelevant. The body no longer negotiates with the surface beneath it. It simply remains. Sound has withdrawn completely. Even the absence of sound feels distant now. The room no longer notices what is missing. It holds only what remains. The window is now only a shape. Darkness beyond it and darkness within it are indistinguishable. There is no direction to the night. No inside, no outside. Only enclosure. Time thins here, not stretching, not compressing, but losing its edges. Moments pass without leaving marks. There is nothing to measure them against. The ceiling, unseen, still exists, but its presence is abstract, no longer spatial. It offers no boundary, only coverage. Thoughts soften further. They do not form lines. They do not finish. They appear as fragments, then dissolve before meaning arrives. The room does not encourage them. It does not resist them. It simply does not provide space for them to stay. Breath becomes quiet enough to disappear between pauses. Inhale blends into exhale without distinction. The rhythm continues without being counted. Warmth remains consistent, not strong, not weak, just sufficient. The fire no longer changes. It has reached a point where movement is unnecessary. The room mirrors this. Nothing shifts, nothing adjusts, nothing prepares. This is not a moment before something else. This is the condition itself. The walls have known this state for centuries. They recognize it immediately. They do not react. They simply hold. The floor remains below, unchanging, supportive without presence. It does not ask to be felt. It does not ask to be known. Awareness narrows again, not into focus, but into softness. Edges dissolve, transitions blur. There is no reason to hold on. There is no reason to let go. The room remains complete without participation. The night remains intact without observation. Nothing concludes, nothing advances. The medieval room continues to exist quietly, enclosed, unchanged, and steady, as the night holds its shape and moves forward without leaving a trace.
The room continues without interruption. Nothing marks the passage from one moment to the next. There is no signal, no shift strong enough to notice. The night has reached its most stable form. The fire no longer gives light. It gives presence. A faint warmth remains, distributed evenly, no longer tied to flame. The hearth is dark now, but not empty. It holds the idea of heat, the memory of glow. The walls respond by staying still. They neither cool nor warm noticeably. They remain balanced, as they have learned to do over many quiet nights. The darkness does not thicken. It has already settled as deeply as it will. Shadows no longer change shape. They rest as fixed impressions on stone and wood. The air feels smooth, without layers. It does not move from place to place. It simply exists, shared equally by everything in the room. The bed holds its position, not firm, not soft, but reliable. The blankets have stopped adjusting. They have reached agreement with the night. Their weight feels constant, unremarkable, easy to forget. The sense of touch fades, not disappearing, but losing urgency. Contact becomes background. Awareness no longer checks where the body ends and the room begins. The window remains dark. No light approaches from outside. No sound presses inward. The world beyond the walls feels distant and unnecessary. The room does not imagine it. Time has thinned further. Moments no longer follow one after another. They overlap gently, blending into a single, continuous presence. Nothing asks to be remembered. Nothing offers information. The ceiling continues to provide enclosure, though it is never seen. Its purpose has been fulfilled. It does not need attention. Thoughts rarely arrive now. When they do, they are incomplete, unfinished. They dissolve before forming direction. The room offers no structure for them to hold on to. Breath continues without effort.
There is no pause to notice. Inhale and exhale have become indistinct. The rhythm remains without being counted. Warmth stays stable. No adjustment is needed. The room maintains its quiet equilibrium. The fire has fully withdrawn from activity. There is nothing left to change. This is not waiting. This is not transition. This is continuation. The walls recognize this state is familiar. They do not respond. They simply remain. The floor supports without sensation. Its presence is assumed, then forgotten. The air holds everything in gentle suspension. Nothing presses down. Nothing pulls away. Awareness softens further, not narrowing, not expanding. It settles into absence without disappearing. The room does not close. The room does not open. It stays exactly as it is. There is no ending here. There is no beginning. The medieval room remains, quiet and contained, holding the night without effort, as time moves past without leaving shape or sound or memory.
The room remains unchanged and does not need to be otherwise. Nothing arrives. Nothing departs. The night has found its most comfortable position and stays there. The hearth is fully dark now. No glow remains, yet warmth lingers faintly, as if the stone remembers what it once held. The room does not miss the fire. It has already absorbed everything the flame offered. The walls stand evenly, their surfaces no longer distinct. Stone does not feel rough here. Wood does not feel grainy. Texture has softened into presence. The darkness is complete, but not heavy. It rests lightly, distributed without weight. Corners no longer gather shadow. Shadow has become the room itself. The air feels uniform. There are no currents, no subtle shifts. Breath moves through it without resistance, without sound. The bed supports quietly. Its shape no longer registers as structure. It is simply where stillness rests. The blankets remain balanced. They neither slip nor press. They hold warmth without tightening around it. The sense of the body begins to fade, not vanishing, but losing importance. Position becomes approximate. Edges soften. Awareness no longer tracks where limbs rest. There is no need to adjust. The window has fully disappeared into the night. Glass, stone, and air have blended into one surface. Outside does not announce itself. Inside does not respond. The room is self-contained. Time has become irrelevant. There is no sequence left. No before, no after. Only a steady condition that does not shift. Thoughts no longer form sentences. They appear as sensations, then dissolve, before meaning arrives. The room does not hold them. It offers no place for thinking to settle. Breath continues automatically. It is quiet enough to go unnoticed. The rhythm persists, without awareness. Warmth stays constant. Not enough to notice,
not little enough to seek more. The room has reached equilibrium. The walls have done this before. They know how long it lasts. They do not count. The floor remains beneath, silent and dependable. Its presence is assumed, then forgotten again. There is no sound at all now. Even silence feels distant. The room does not register its absence. It simply continues. Awareness drifts further, not outward, not inward. It loosens, like something no longer held. Nothing pulls it back. Nothing pushes it away. The medieval room holds steady, quiet, and complete. It does not observe the night. It does not participate. It simply remains in this softened state. As time passes through it, without friction, without memory, without trace.
The room holds its position without effort. Nothing presses against it. Nothing escapes from it. The night has fully settled into stillness. There is no warmth to track now, only a gentle balance that does not shift. The hearth is cold to the eye, but not to memory. Stone keeps what it has known, then releases it slowly, without urgency. The walls remain steady. They do not echo. They do not absorb. They simply exist, unchanged, unresponsive. The darkness has no depth anymore. It is even, soft, complete. There is no direction to look. Vision rests without searching. The air feels smooth, almost weightless. It offers no resistance to breath. Breathing continues without effort, without pause. The bed no longer registers as surface. Support has become assumption. The blankets remain where they are, no heavier, no lighter. Their presence fades into familiarity. The sense of touch loosens further. Contact becomes vague, then optional. Awareness no longer checks for position. The window is gone entirely, not hidden, not darkened, simply irrelevant. Outside has ceased to exist here. The room is complete on its own. Time has lost its outline. Moments no longer pass. They dissolve before forming. There is no need to mark anything. Thought does not return. It does not circle back. It does not ask questions. The room offers no surface for it to land. Breath continues, steady and quiet. It blends into the air without separation. Warmth remains neutral. Nothing increases. Nothing fades. Balance holds. The ceiling remains unseen, yet dependable. Its presence is felt only as enclosure. The walls have done this for countless nights. They do not react. They remain patient, unaware of waiting. The floor stays beneath everything, supportive without acknowledgement. Its role is complete. There is no sound, There is no silence. Both have lost meaning. The room exists outside of contrast. Awareness softens again, not narrowing, not expanding. It simply releases. Nothing replaces it. The medieval room continues, without motion, without change, holding the night in a steady, unchallenged state, as time moves through without leaving form, or memory, or trace.
The room remains steady, without effort, without response. Nothing presses inward. Nothing pulls away. The night has settled into a condition that does not shift. The hearth stays dark, no longer relevant to warmth or light. Stone has already released what it needed to release. What remains is balance. The walls hold evenly, their presence familiar, their purpose fulfilled. They do not lean, they do not resist. They simply remain where they have always been. Darkness is complete, but not heavy. It rests across the room without weight, without depth. There is no corner that feels different from another. The air is still, smooth, undisturbed. Breath passes through it without sound. Inhale and exhale are no longer distinct. They blend, then continue without notice. The bed does not announce itself. Support is assumed, then forgotten. The blankets remain without pressure. They hold warmth without asking for attention. Their weight no longer registers as sensation. The outline of the body softens further. Edges lose definition. There is no clear position now, only rest. The window does not return. Outside does not approach. The room remains complete on its own. Time no longer presents itself. There is no sequence to follow. Moments do not arrive, and they do not leave. They remain suspended, unmeasured, unchanged. Thought does not form. It does not circle. It does not return to unfinished ideas. The room offers no structure for thinking to settle. Awareness loosens gently, not fading, not expanding. It drifts into background without effort. Breath continues in a quiet rhythm. It does not ask to be followed. Warmth remains neutral. Nothing increases, nothing fades. The balance holds. The ceiling remains unseen, yet enclosing. Its presence is abstract, no longer spatial. The walls recognize this condition. They have held it many times before. They do not react. The floor remains beneath, supportive without sensation. Its presence is complete. Sound does not appear. Silence does not assert itself. Both have lost meaning. The room exists outside contrast. Awareness loosens again, not slipping, not anchoring. It settles without direction. Nothing calls it back. Nothing pushes it forward. The medieval room continues in this state, quiet, contained, unchanged. It does not prepare for morning. It does not recall the day before. It remains present without reference. The night does not deepen. It does not thin. It simply continues as it is. Stone remains stone. Wood remains wood.
Darkness remains even and complete. The air holds everything without movement. Breath continues without instruction. The room does not observe. The room does not respond. It remains steady, unshifted, unconcerned, holding the night in a quiet balance. As time moves through without sound, without memory, without trace.
The room remains steady, without effort, without response. Nothing presses inward, nothing pulls away. The night has settled into a condition that does not shift. The hearth stays dark, no longer relevant to warmth or light. Stone has already released what it needed to release. What remains is balance. The walls hold evenly, their presence familiar, their purpose fulfilled. They do not lean, they do not resist. They simply remain where they have always been. Darkness is complete, but not heavy. It rests across the room, without weight, without depth. There is no corner that feels different from another. The air is still, smooth, undisturbed. Breath passes through it without sound. Inhale and exhale are no longer distinct. They blend, then continue without notice. The bed does not announce itself. Support is assumed, then forgotten. The blankets remain without pressure. They hold warmth without asking for attention. Their weight no longer registers as sensation. The outline of the body softens further. Edges lose definition. There is no clear position now, only rest. The window does not return. Outside does not approach. The room remains complete on its own. Time no longer presents itself. There is no sequence to follow. Moments do not arrive, and they do not leave. They remain suspended, unmeasured, unchanged. Thought does not form. It does not circle. It does not return to unfinished ideas. The room offers no structure for thinking to settle. Awareness loosens gently, not fading, not expanding. It drifts into background without effort. Breath continues in a quiet rhythm. It does not ask to be followed. Warmth remains neutral. Nothing increases, nothing fades. The balance holds. The ceiling remains unseen, yet enclosing. Its presence is abstract, no longer spatial. The walls recognize this condition. They have held it many times before. They do not react. The floor remains beneath, supportive without sensation. Its presence is complete. Sound does not appear. Silence does not assert itself. Both have lost meaning. The room exists outside contrast. Awareness loosens again, not slipping, not anchoring. It settles without direction. Nothing pulls it back. Nothing pushes it forward. The medieval room continues in this state, quiet, contained, unchanged. It does not prepare for morning. It does not recall the day before. It remains present without reference. The night does not deepen. It does not thin. It simply continues as it is. Stone remains stone. Wood remains wood. Darkness remains even and complete. The air holds everything without movement. Breath continues without instruction. The room does not observe. The room does not respond. It remains steady, unshifted, unconcerned, holding the night
in a quiet balance as time moves through, without sound, without memory, without trace.
The room remains, even as the night continues, without marking itself. Nothing signals an ending. Nothing suggests that anything must change. The darkness holds steady, not thinning, not deepening. It stays present, balanced, complete. The walls continue to do what they have always done. They stand quietly, holding space without effort. They do not remember. They do not anticipate. They simply remain. The air rests evenly, no longer moving from place to place. Breath continues through it without interruption, without sound. Inhale and exhale no longer ask to be noticed. They happen, then fade back into the room. The bed holds its shape, unconcerned. Support remains without sensation. The blankets rest as they have rested all night, neither shifting nor tightening. Warmth stays gentle, undemanding, easy to forget. The sense of time does not return. There is no awareness of how long the night has been, or how much remains. Moments do not gather. They dissolve before becoming memory. The window offers no signal. Outside remains distant, unnecessary. The room does not reach for it. Inside is enough. Thought does not return to collect the night. It does not summarize. It does not reflect. The room offers no place for that kind of movement. Awareness remains soft, loose, unfixed. It rests without needing direction. Nothing pulls it forward. Nothing calls it back. The ceiling continues unseen, yet enclosing. Its purpose remains fulfilled. The floor supports quietly, without presence, without demand. There is no sound now. There is no silence either. Both have blended into the same quiet condition. The room does not close. The room does not open. It continues exactly as it is. Stone remains stone. Wood remains wood. Darkness remains even. The air remains still. Breath continues without instruction. The night does not announce itself. It simply carries on. And the room remains with it, unchanged, contained, and calm, holding this quiet state without effort, as time moves through, without shape, without memory, without trace.